Melphor is a type of vinegar. It's a lighter acidity than most vinegars, so it's less sharp, and it's infused with honey and herbs. I'm not sure what the exact herbs are, but it's a lightly acidic, slightly sweet vinegar. We do supplement that with some white balsamic just to make sure we have the acidity and the tartness that we're looking for. Okay. The trout. Okay. Almond. So this is a very classic dish, trout with almonds. This is traditional. I would have to research this a little bit on how it's served traditionally, but I think it's a hot entree, like a pan fried trout with toasted almonds and brown butter, almost like a lumiere.
That's the way we had it a couple of times as a special.
Yeah.
I think the way they used to do it was like a trout fillet, and then presented both fillets, one on top of the other, and then topped up with a brown butter sauce with toasted almonds.
With toasted almonds.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. So that's typically again a very simple dish, and what we've tried to do is take that idea and refine it, make it a little more interesting, and kind of show off a little bit. That's kind of a big part of what we do is showing what we can do. That's what great restaurants do. They show off, in a humble and modest way, but that's what we are doing with all of these. So what we've done with the trout is make a chaud-froid, which is something that is cooked in a hot preparation, but then served cold, cold. Okay. So we cook the trout fillets with the skin on in a court bouillon, which is what?
Is that poaching liquid for lobster? Or?
Starting from wine
It's a nice top.
and vegetables.
So it's a very aromatic liquid that you use to cook generally fish, like lobsters or shellfish, or in this case the trout. But it's not necessarily a stock because it's made with water, wine, a little bit of vinegar for some acidity, but then sliced lemons, lots of different herbs, and make it very aromatic to infuse some flavor into whatever you're poaching. So we poach the trout, and because trout fillets are quite thin, we layer them in a hotel pan and pour the hot court bouillon over them, and then just let it sit. So it slowly poaches them, so they retain their juiciness a little bit more than it would if you boiled them in the stock, in the court bouillon, not the stock. So once they're cooked and cooled down, we remove the skin. We then bake the skin until it's very crispy. We grind it up until it's not quite a powder, but it's very small pieces. We mix that ground skin with toasted almonds that have been ground fine, a little espelette, and salt. We set that to the side. We take the cooking liquid and we reduce it slightly and season it to taste. We generally add a little fresh lemon juice at this point for brightness, and then add gelatin sheets. And then we as that cools, we have our trout fillets in the refrigerator that have been patted dry, because if you try to glaze anything with gelatin on something that's wet, it won't stick. So you have to make sure that they're quite dry and cold. We take the cooking liquid that you add the gelatin to, you melt the gelatin into it, and then you allow it to start to cool. And there's a window where it's cool enough where it's starting to set, and it's not just liquid, but before it sets completely, where you can spoon it over the fish, and it's liquidy enough to run off the sides, but it's close enough that when it hits the cold fish, it sets. So it sets in a nice thin, even layer, nice little shine, glaze to it. And because it's still quite liquidy, it comes in on a very, it rolls off, and it's a very thin layer. So you want to do it a couple of times to get the amount that you want on there, because it is a big part of the dish. It's a flavoring agent. It seasons the fish, and it gives a mouthfeel to the dish too. It enriches. So you do this 3 times to create a nice even layer. On the third one, you add the mixture of almonds and ground skin and espelette, so that you add it as soon as you put that third layer on, so that it sinks a little bit into the gel and sets with it. Okay, and then that is kept in the refrigerator. This dish is something that's served very cold plate right out of the refrigerator.
You guys tasted this yesterday?
Yeah.
I wasn't there. Did you? I think it's great. I tasted it in the tasting a few weeks ago. It was great.
Better than regular trout, like regular trout almond bean. I like this one better.
Thank you. So this is served with whipped creme fraiche, with an almond creme fraiche. We take creme fraiche and literally just whip it like you would heavy cream to stiff peaks. You fold in some almond oil and toasted almonds.
What do you mean stiff peaks?
Stiff peaks is a term you use when you're whipping cream for anything. You whip it to soft peaks or stiff peaks. And what that means is when you pull the whisk or the whip attachment to the KitchenAid out of the cream, and there's cream attached to it, it creates a little peak. And if that peak stays straight, it's stiff peaks. And if it falls over, it's soft peaks. I'll let you guys say.
Use your imagination. Soft peak. Okay.
Soft peaks and stay on.